Hi, it's Katrina. Spider bites are never fun, but some are exponentially more painful and lethal than others. From gigantic wandering spiders with huge fangs to tiny spiders hiding in your shoe that you might not even notice, here are 9 of the most venomous spiders on Earth. Number 9. The wolf spider. Wolf spiders can be found all over the world. In the US alone, there are around 125 species of wolf spider, and there are around 50 species in Europe. Some species of wolf spider can even be found north of the Arctic Circle. These guys are tough. Most wolf spiders are hairy, striped, brown or gray in color, and range in length from ½ inch to 2 inches. They will wait for their prey and then pounce on it, even chasing it for short distances in a wolf-like fashion, hence the name. They are very unique in that they carry their eggs underneath their abdomen instead of leaving them in a nest somewhere. When they are born, the mother wolf spider will carry her little spiderlings for several weeks until they are old enough to fend for themselves. They are the only spider known to do this. Cute, right? See? Not so scary. Although I guess it depends, because this spider will come into your house if you've got any sort of bugs and will hide in dark corners, including windowsills, shoes, anywhere they can squeeze into. Since they live in close proximity to humans, wolf spider bites do happen. They are venomous and their bite is extremely unpleasant, but don't worry, you won't die. A wolf spider will usually only bite in self-defense and is otherwise not considered aggressive. They have large fangs, and bites sometimes cause an allergic reaction, including nausea, dizziness, and an elevated heart rate. The bite has been compared to the pain of a bee sting, and trauma at the bite location is common. Itchiness and pain are the most common bite symptoms. Although the wolf spider's venom is typically not dangerous, the pain of the bite and the spider's appearance and speed sometimes cause victims to panic. Have you ever been bitten by a spider? Would you panic? Let me know in the comments below. I got bitten in my sleep when I was little and woke up with a huge red bump and 2 red puncture marks on my leg. I still don't know what kind of spider it was. Number 8. Yellow sac spider. The yellow sac spider exists in many parts of the world. While there's only 1 species throughout the Americas, 2 species of yellow sac spider can be found from Europe to Japan, as well as Australia and parts of southern Africa. The funny thing is, they are usually not yellow. This innately defensive spider lives in gardens in the summer and will go indoors in the fall, so people often get bitten when they surprise the spider or when it gets caught in your clothing. Bites are relatively common. In fact, most spider bites throughout the world are likely caused by yellow sac spiders. They are often confused with brown recluse spider bites. The bite looks similar but is much less severe. However, I guess it depends on how you define severe. The bite is said to feel like a wasp sting and will create a red welt with a necrotic center. Usually bites are not unbearably painful and don't cause any serious complications. The best thing to do is to elevate the bite area and put ice on it. The severity of their bites varies greatly, although you can suffer from flesh rot. One species of yellow sac spider, C. inclusum, tends to be more destructive. C. inclusum bites are typically very painful at the outset and are accompanied by symptoms such as redness, swelling, and itchiness. Within 10 hours of being bitten, a victim will usually experience a rash and blistering at the site. There's also a risk of a necrotic lesion developing at the site, but in a less serious context than those caused by brown recluse bites. Blisters or lesions under the bite are signs that there may be necrosis underneath. If symptoms do not subside in 2 or 3 days, or if they worsen, then you can go see a doctor who will most likely prescribe antibiotics. Number 7. The brown recluse. Speaking of our friend, the brown recluse, it is primarily found in the Midwestern and South Central United States and prefers dark, warm, and dry environments like closets, basements, and wood piles. It's typically identified by the dark brown violin-shaped marking on its back. With its legs fully extended, a brown recluse is roughly the size of a U.S. quarter. A brown recluse will usually only bite when it feels trapped, which often occurs when a person unknowingly reaches into its home or into your shoe. Always check your shoes just in case before you stick your foot in there. The effects of the bite typically set in slowly, often taking between 3 and 8 hours to fully develop, although there is sometimes an immediate stinging sensation. It might not be immediately painful, but it can be serious. Bite symptoms include swelling, redness, severe pain and itching, nausea, vomiting, fever, and muscle pain. Most bites heal within 3 weeks. For some unfortunate victims, however, the venom continues destroying the tissue, leading to something called a necrotic lesion, which may persist for several months. This causes the wound to expand up to several inches and sometimes even leaves a deep scar. Brown recluse bites are rarely fatal, but it's important to keep a close eye on the victim, as severe allergic reactions and infections of the wound can be deadly, especially in children, the elderly, and people with weak immune systems. Experts recommend icing and elevating the affected area and seeking medical attention immediately. The good thing is that even though the venom is extremely potent, the spider only injects it in very small quantities. And now for number 6, but first, have you ever been bitten by a spider? Let me know in the comments below. Also, I wanted to give a big shout out to some of our amazing subscribers. If you are new here, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. We'd love to have you. Number 6, Black Widow. The black widow spider can be found throughout the United States, as well as parts of Canada, Latin America, and the West Indies. This versatile spider makes its home in a variety of settings, including in burrows and wood piles and among plants. I found one in my elementary school hanging out in the corner, and we all thought it was fake since it was so black and shiny, except that it was in a web near the floor of the room. Then the teacher came over and freaked out. Luckily, none of us touched it. Female black widow spiders are kind of big. They're about 1.5 inches long, with the males being much smaller. So how did the black widow get its name? The females are notorious for eating the males after mating. At first, a bite feels like a pinprick. Common symptoms include severe muscle pain and cramps, nausea, and difficulty breathing due to mild paralysis of the diaphragm. Every year in the U.S., there are around 2,500 poison control center visits due to black widow bites. Its venom is thought to be potentially fatal to the elderly and small children. Luckily, there is an anti-venom, and most people recover without serious complications. There have been no recent deaths in the U.S. attributed to black widow spider bites, with most such fatalities having occurred before the advent of modern plumbing and heating, as a result of people regularly using outhouses and going near wood piles. Number 5, the brown widow. The first described brown widow spider came from South America, but the species is thought to have originated in Africa. Anywhere outside of South America, however, the brown widow is considered an invasive species. They have started to take over, so the black widow should step aside. Populations have appeared in South Africa, Madagascar, Australia, Cyprus, Japan, and the Caribbean, Southern California, and the Gulf Coast states of the United States. The brown widow is less aggressive than the black widow and only injects a tiny amount of venom when it bites. However, its venom is twice as powerful as that of the black widow, and bites are to be taken seriously. The neurotoxin in the brown widow's venom causes symptoms such as muscle spasms, contractions, and in serious cases, spinal or cerebral paralysis. While this paralysis is usually temporary, it can cause lasting damage to the central nervous system. Don't panic! Just be sure to avoid them where you might bump into them, like urban areas, backyards, patio furniture, gardens, outdoor toys, playgrounds, and even cars and vehicles. So basically everywhere! Check everywhere! 2 people with weakened immune systems and who did not receive the anti-venom died from brown widow spider bites in Madagascar in the early 1990s. However, while bites sometimes require a short hospital stay, they are rarely fatal. Number 4, the six-eyed sand spider. The medium-sized six-eyed sand spider is found throughout southern Africa in deserts and sandy habitats. It's most closely related to the recluse spider, and like its relative, it likes to hide and is great at camouflaging itself. Due to this tendency, while 38,000 species of six-eyed sand spiders have been identified, scientists believe up to 200,000 species may exist. They will hide themselves in the sand and wait for their prey to come close, then pounce. This secretive, shy spider will only bite as a result of accidental contact with a human, which is quite rare out in the middle of the desert. However, scientists analyzed its venom and discovered something surprising. Its venom is among the most poisonous on record, causing severe bleeding and necrotic effects to the victim. As a result, tissue is destroyed and blood vessels leak. No anti-venom exists, and a bite from a six-eyed sand spider is therefore potentially fatal. Luckily, there are no confirmed bites among humans. There are 2 suspected cases, one of which required the amputation of a man's arm due to necrosis. The other case was fatal as the victim died of massive hemorrhaging. However, the true culprit was never identified. Number 3, the Chilean Recluse. The Chilean recluse spider is closely related to the brown recluse. It's endemic to South America, although non-native populations have appeared in other parts of the world due to its tendency to hitchhike on exported materials. Invasive populations have been found in Los Angeles, Florida, Massachusetts, Vancouver, Australia, and the Finnish capital of Helsinki. This species is one of the larger of the recluse family, typically ranging between 0.3 and 1.6 inches long. It has 6 eyes rather than 8, unlike most spiders, and is brown in color. Like other recluse species, the Chilean recluse is non-aggressive and won't bite unless it feels threatened. Its venom is considered the most dangerous of the recluse spiders, however, and contact with a Chilean recluse should be avoided at all costs. There are usually no immediate symptoms after being bitten. A blister will appear after several hours. The side effects of a bite vary depending on how much venom is injected and range from minor irritation of the skin to severe necrosis and other dangerous symptoms, such as renal failure. In a clinical study in Chile, around 4% of bite victims died. Number 2. Sydney funnel web spider. The Australian Museum refers to Atrax robustus, or the Sydney funnel web spider, as probably the most notorious of all spiders. Indeed, this native Australian species, which has large fangs and ranges from 1 to 3 inches in length, is pretty aggressive when provoked, and its venom is highly toxic. When one bites, it typically delivers a full dose of venom and often strikes repeatedly. People are strongly discouraged from ever approaching a Sydney funnel web spider due to its inherently aggressive nature and poisonous venom. Its venom contains a atracotoxin, a compound that attacks the nervous system and causes potentially fatal effects. There is one recorded case of a child dying no more than 15 minutes after being bitten. Fortunately, there is an anti-venom, and ever since it was developed, there have been no known fatalities from Sydney funnel web spider bites. Bite victims are urged to go straight to the emergency room, as the administering of the anti-venom can mean the difference between life and death. Number 1. Brazilian wandering spider. Phonutria fera, or the Brazilian wandering spider, belongs to the genus of spiders that means murderous in Greek, so you can see where this is going. Although definitely found in Brazil, the wandering spider can be found throughout Latin America. These critters are pretty large, with their legs reaching about 6 inches long. During the daytime, it seeks a dark hiding place, often leading the spider indoors and into cars, boxes, shoes, and clothing items. People are most often bit as a result of accidentally disturbing one. This aggressive and dangerous species bites humans more than any other type of spider. They are known for wandering around the jungle floor, actively hunting at night as they ambush and attack their prey. The Brazilian wandering spider is also sometimes called the banana spider due to its tendency to hide in banana leaves and occasionally appear in banana shipments. It is now able to wander all over the world in bananas, so be careful when you go to get some in your local grocery store. You never know. The Brazilian wandering spider appeared in the 2017 Guinness Book of World Records as the title holder for the world's most venomous spider. Its venom contains a neurotoxin as well as a high concentration of serotonin, which causes excruciating pain. Within 30 minutes, the victim will suffer from nausea, abdominal cramping, hypothermia, vertigo, blurred vision, convulsions, and excessive sweating associated with shock. And for men, the venom can cause very painful erections. Scientists are of course looking into using their venom for erectile dysfunction drugs. A bite could be life-threatening, and victims are urged to seek immediate medical care. Thanks for watching! Just remember that spiders are more afraid of you than you are of them. If they see a giant thing coming toward them like your finger, they know that they are outmatched. Do you have any cool spider stories? Let us know in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time! Bye!